Hey guys, welcome back to my channel all about English with Divyata. There might be a question in your mind as to why I was not putting up videos from so far. I think it's been a month. Nevertheless, I'm back again. Actually, I was just busy with my few competitions which are yet to happen. Okay, now leaving apart that, let's start the context of this video. In this video, I'll be dealing with the poem of Kamala Das, an introduction. Okay. Before beginning with the poem, let's know something about the poet as to what was Kamala Das. Kamala Das was an Indian English writer who has acquired for herself a status that matches the contributions of the Western confessionalists like Sylvia Plath and Annie Saxton of America. Okay, she used to describe every single thing with full frankness. She is a frank poet. This frankness gives her a sort of upliftment in her title which matches the Western confessionalist. Okay, she was a fervent feminist writer. She was outspoken, exacting for naturalistic freedom and choices. Fervent feminist writer here means that she showed strong feelings for every single thing whatsoever she depicted in her poems. Okay, that is, she was very frank. In this particular poem also, she has described every single thing with full frankness and without hesitating as to what people will think if I write this. No, this was not with her. She used to write with full frankness without thinking that whatsoever people will think. Her basic motive was to just portray the happenings of the life. Now, going to her thematic concerns as to what themes are represented in a poem. In her poetry, the themes range from the plight of women in the society till the political scenario, the wrong meaning of love, that is, love is misapprehended in a wrong way, child marriage, then the gender stereotypes for women, and the freedom, want of freedom. This poem is also a poem which will depict all these themes in at a one place. Okay, now let's begin with the poem. First, I'll read the poem for you once, then we'll deal with it. Okay, this poem has been taken from her first collection, that is Summary in Calcutta, which was published in 1965. From this group of poetries, an introduction has been taken. Let's begin with the poem. I don't know politics, but I know the names of these in power and can repeat them like days of weeks or names of months, beginning with Nehru. I am Indian, very brown, born in Malabar. I speak three languages, write in two, dream in one. Don't write in English, they said. English is not your mother tongue. Why not leave me alone? Critics, friends, visiting cousins, every one of you. Why not let me speak in any language I like? The language I speak becomes mine, its distortions, its queerness, all mine, mine alone. Now, what does this mean? Okay. Basically, Kamala Das is describing here the political scenario. Okay, we get to know the theme of political scenario over here. She says that it is a sort of antithetical statement. Okay, antithetical statement means a sentence with positive and negative side both. Okay, I don't know politics, but I know the names. It has a positive side and it has a negative side also. The negative side here is that she mentions, I don't know politics, but I know the names. This I know the names is the positive one. So, this is an antithetical statement. Okay, she describes here that she doesn't know politics, but she knows the names of those in politics. She can even remember them like days of weeks, names of months. What she mentions over here is that she can just remember the names of people in politics basically being the male gender. She can just recall them like the days of weeks, months, etc. She even takes the name of Nehru. It seems that during that period, politics was under men and participation of women was very less at that time. Now, she then describes about her nationality being Indian, born in Malabar, very brown. She was very brown in color. Her very brown here signifies the color discrimination which prevailed during those times. Okay, she signifies that yes, she was very brown, because of which she had to face some discriminations at some places. Now, further, she introduces us with the three languages she writes, speaks, and dreams of. Now, the point comes where she tells us about the critics who criticize her for writing in English. They tell her, why do you write in English? Write in your mother tongue. Don't go for English. Where she revolts for herself, saying, why not they leave her for writing in whichsoever language she wants? Because she writes it in English. If she writes in English, the distortions means its mistakes, its problems, its queerness, its uniqueness, all these things becomes her. She is the one who will possess that. Nobody can stop her from writing English. Next para. It is half English, half Indian. Funny perhaps, but it is honest. It is as human as I am human. Don't you see? It voices my joys, my longings, my hopes, and it is useful to me as cawing is to crows or roaring to the lions. It is human speech, the speech of mine that is here and not there, a mind that sees and hears and is aware, not the deaf blind speech of the trees in storm, or of monsoon clouds, or of rain, or the incoherent mutterings of the blazing funeral pyre. Okay, now what does this thing mean over here is that she says that the language she speaks and writes perhaps is funny, as it is half English and half Indian, because she is not so much engrossed in that English part. She is not fully developed, but she writes it whatsoever she knows, and it is still extent funny as it is mixed. It is half Indian and half English, but people understand that, and she can express herself in that language. And it is much living as she herself is, because she writes in that language and she understands it better than any other language. So she lives in that, and she further asks them that can't they see that it voices her joys, her longings, and her hopes. This is very useful to her, just alike cawing is to crows and roaring is to lion. As the lion roars, as the crow caws, the same way English is important for her. She writes and she can express herself in this particular language with a full concentration in mind, and it is also not the mind which hears and is aware of, just like the deaf blind speech of the trees, as the trees moves, the storms, the monsoon clouds, but rather she can express it, every single thing, whichever thing comes to her mind, very clearly with full concentration in this particular language. I was a child, and later they told me I grew up, for I became tall, my limbs swelled, and one or two places sprouted hair. When I asked for love, not knowing what else to ask for, he drew a youth of 16 into the bedroom and closed the door. He did not beat me, but my sad woman body felt so beaten. The weight of my breast and womb crushed me. I shrank pitifully. Then I wore a shirt and my hair and my brother's trouser, but cut my hair short and ignored my womanliness. Dress in saris, be girl, be wife, they said. Be embroider, be a cook, be a caller with the servants. Fit in, oh, belong, cried the categorizers. Don't sit on walks or peep in through our lace-draped windows. The last word, the funeral pyre. The funeral pyre depicts over here the end of childhood in her life. The funeral pyre was the end of childhood in her life, because after that she was married. All the lines after this, which I read now, will depict the theme of consummate love in interpersonal relationships, the physical love. As she grew up, as told by her father, because she became tall, her limbs swelled, and one or two places sprouted hair. When she asked for love, as she was not knowing for what to ask, nothing was done to her except the physical love which she got from her husband. She was locked up in the room with the unknown man, as she did not know her. She was just married, and when she asked for love, what happened with her was that he did not beat her inside. Rather, she felt very pitied for herself, as her body felt crushed. Okay. She shrank pitifully with pain. She was in a lot of pain. Not the physical pain, but rather the emotional pain. She was in an emotional pain as to, is this what love means? She did not wanted the physical love, but rather the emotional support, love from the heart. Okay. So what did she do after that? She wore a shirt and her brother's trouser, cut her hair short, and ignored her womanliness. Now, here the theme of imposition of stereotypes begins, as the categorizers started categorizing her, be this, be that, wear saris, be a girl, be a wife, be a cook, be a caller with the servants, with every small thing they do, or the every small mistakes, be embroider, not to sit on the walls and peep in through the lace wrapped windows. Okay, all these things were the stereotypes which still exist in the society nowadays. Also, nowadays, what so? I don't think it will go from this earth ever. The stereotypes which are imposed on girls and women, that don't go there, don't do this, don't do that, don't meet a stranger, don't talk to a boy, all these things are just stereotypes. People need to be broader, because now girls are not less in any field. They are in fact better than boys in every single field now. If we look at the results, in every field we find more number of girls, if not more, say less only. They are better in every task. They are doing everything in the right way. They can even handle the house and their career, outside the house and inside the house. They can manage these two things and work properly. So, we should not just take girls and women as a puppet who'll do whatever the categorizers or whatever the men will say. No, that's not right. Because equality needs to be given. Then only the possession of women will somehow grow, and it will be stronger. The women, the girls will be stronger. People need to be broader. They have to keep a broader mindset in order to make this country develop, because they are the source of everything. Women are the source for the continuation of life on this earth. If they are not there, life won't exist on earth. So women need to be given equality and justice in every single field. Be Amy or be Kamala, or better still be Madhavi Kutti. It's time to choose a name, a role. Don't play pretending games. Don't cry. Don't play at schizophrenia or be a nympho. Don't cry embarrassingly loud when jilted in love. I met a man, loved him, called him not by any name. He is very man who wants a woman, just as I am very woman who seeks love. In him the hungry haste of rivers in me, the ocean's tireless waiting. Who are you? I ask each and every one. The answer is, it is I. Anywhere and everywhere I see the one who call himself I. In this world, he is tightly packed like the sword in its sheath. It is I who drink lonely, drinks at 12, midnight in hotels of towns. It is I who love, It is I who make love and then feel shame. It is I who lie dying with a rattle in my throat. I am sinner, I am saved. I am the beloved, I am the betrayed. I have no joys that are not yours, no aches which are not yours. I too call myself I. Again, here we find the stereotypes that they say her to be Ami or Kamla or even Madhavi Kutti. Okay, Madhavi Kutti was her pen name which she used at some places to write her work. They ask her to choose a name, a role in her life which she needs to play. They ask her not to play pretending games and not to play schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a serious illness in which people get confused between the real world and the world of imagination, and they start behaving strangely. Okay, or be a nympho, a spirit in the form of a young woman, okay, that lives in rivers, woods, etc. Even not to cry loud embarrassingly when jilted in love. They ask her to do all these things. Now, the next lines will depict a very pagan situation of the poet where she says that she met a man, loved him, cannot be called by name because she was not his husband, because he was not his husband. Here she is referring to one of her love affairs she had. Okay. Now she says that she was one of a man. He was one of the men who wanted a woman, just as she is one of a woman who wants love. She contrasts the man with the river who has the hungry haste to do it, to do everything in a hurry. Within herself lies the ocean. Okay. She keeps on asking everyone that who are you? The answer she gets from every place is I. The I word here is important because everywhere the she gets an answer as I. That I word is packed like the sword in its sheath. Now she moves on to herself. It is I who drink love. Here, this is not another than Kamla Das. Okay, she is one who drinks alone at 12 in midnight in strange towns, the hotels of strange towns. Okay, it is she who laughs and makes love but feels ashamed of herself. It is she who lies dying with a rattle in her throat, which means that her inner voice and her cries fight inside her because of her guilt. She says she is the sinner and saint both. She is the beloved and the betrayed both. She has no joys that are not her husband's, no pains that are not his. Then, due to all these things, she can too call herself I, because she is the one who gets everything, all the joys and all the sorrows. She gets all those things. She makes an assertion of identity for herself to earn a self respect. Okay. Lastly, what we can say here is that it is a poem depicting a truthful picture of India. The child marriage has still not been wiped out from India completely. There still prevails the so called stereotypes of the society which bounds every girl and woman in some or the other barriers. The poet has even depicted herself as exhausting for naturalistic freedom and choices. As we see on, there are still few places in India, few villages where still child marriages take place. Okay, few days back there was a news out in a paper. I won't mention any name or a place from where it happened, but there was a girl, she was below 18 and she was about to marry. But what did she do was she ran away from her house because she did not wanted to marry. People, girls will do these things if they are forced to marry before their right age and before being anything. In my view, first stand on your foot yourself and then marry. Don't depend on anyone. And it should not happen because we don't know that when will that person leave us. I won't saying that it will happen with everyone, but it can happen. We should think of all these things and then think about marriage. Then the stereotypes. Stereotypes also still prevail in the society. Don't do this, don't do that, don't go there. All these things. But we need to be broader. The men need to change their mind. If they change it, I am for sure that yes, these stereotypes can be removed from the society and women can get equality and justice in every single field, as they can do it if we see a working woman, she very smoothly carries herself at her home and at her workplace also. This means that yes, a woman can do both the things. Then why not give them opportunities for doing all these things? Okay, now if we go on, this will become a topic for debate. But now let's stop our poem over here. Hope this explanation will prove useful to you all.